Hello, this is Roland. I've been wanting to make a video for a long time, a little video about books that I've come to enjoy a lot. And I'm just going to make it, because if I don't, time will go by and I won't make it. I want to talk about books that are good for men and for boys. I remember when my stepdad, a really nice man, had a heart attack. He wasn't able to work for about 3 months. And so what did he do? He did a lot of reading. He started doing a lot of reading. And I never knew what to get him, this or that. Wish I'd have known then what I know now. And the other thing is for boys, teenage boys or young men, something that they might enjoy reading instead of playing video games and texting all the time. Okay? And something that has, I hate to use the term, but it's a good term, old-fashioned values in it. So I'm going to tell you some authors that I have enjoyed a lot. I was up in Redding, California on vacation. Went to the library and they had a great big Western section there. So I looked at the Western books and I saw the name Zane Grey. I'd heard that name many times as I grew up. And so I got one. It was called The Rainbow Bridge or something like that. And I read it while I was on vacation. That's the first novel that I had read for years. I was not a novel reader. So it was like maybe 30, 40 years I never read a novel. I'm interested in psychology and theology and philosophy, science, sociology, nonfiction books, okay? I wasn't interested in novels. But I picked it up and started reading it, and I enjoyed it. So then 2 years ago, I was back in Reading again, summertime. Then I didn't read another novel for a whole year. Okay? Then 2 years ago, I was in Reading again, and I went to the big Western section that they had at the library. And I looked for the Zane Grey books, and then I grabbed one off the shelf. Went back to where we were staying, and I looked at the book, and oh no, it wasn't Zane Grey. I'd accidentally picked the wrong book from it by another author. I started reading it. You know what? It was good. It was good. And who was it by? Louis L'Amour. And I happened to pick up a book, Riders of High Rock. This is one of the 4 Hopalong Cassidy books that Louis L'Amour wrote. One of the 4. It took me back into the days of the Old West. And I liked it because I was born in Wyoming, grew up in Utah. I love the West. The description of the scenery was very good. And there was a lot of action. Bad guys were doing bad things. And it was a story of a nice man who had to fight the bad guys. He didn't have a choice, he had to. And at the end, good conquered evil. And he walked away proud. So then I read some other Louis L'Amour books. And as time went by, I began to enjoy reading a little bit of a Louis L'Amour novel every evening. Well, he wrote like 130 of them. I've read over 100 of them now. They were all good. What do I like about the Louis L'Amour novels? First of all, they're set in the days of the Old West. And you learn something about history, and something about horses, and something about being a cowboy, and about the desert, and about the mountains, and like that. So that's good. But what I really like about them is they have tremendous adventure, lots of action. Okay, but a very high moral tone, no bad language. Women are treated with respect. I found out that was part of the code of the Old West. Women were treated with respect. A man would take his hat off in the presence of a lady, and not use bad language around the lady. It would be respectful. See? And so that's one thing I liked about the novels. The women were treated with respect. And when there were women in the novels, which there were, some of them were even about women, where the woman was the main character, a heroine, strong, capable. Okay. Now, the other thing that I like is that the hero or heroine was always a man or a woman with principle, with honor, with virtue, character, love, honor, all the beautiful virtues. And I like that. And fought the bad guys and won. I like that also. Okay? So that's what I liked about the Louis L'Amour novels. Nothing sleazy, nothing off-color, no off-color jokes, no bad language. Okay? Well, read almost all of his. I was looking for someone else to read, like Louis L'Amour. So I did some research. And the next writer that I started to read quite a bit of, and I don't have one of his books here, I'll just say his name, Luke Short. His real name was Mr. Glyden. His nom de plume, or pen name, was Luke Short. He wrote a lot, I think like 60 novels. I love novels. Same thing. Action, excitement, tremendous scenery, historical accuracy, men with honor, with principle, fighting bad guys. Okay? Luke Short, good novels. Okay. Then I was looking for another, and I came upon, let me see if I can get his book here. Remember, my criteria, first of all, I want something that's interesting, something that's a lot of action and a fun read, but no bad language, nothing sleazy, nothing off color, nothing that's not appropriate. Okay, it's got to be family friendly. Of course, these are novels about the Old West, so you will have some men smoking cigarettes or a pipe, and you'll have them maybe going into a bar and having a drink. But that's what, that was part of the Old West. Don't forget that these cowboys would sometimes be out on a cattle drive for weeks, months. Weeks or months they would be out on a cattle drive. And when they came to town, see, maybe they would go have a drink in the bar, but they only had to drink in the bar once every 2 months. See what I mean? So it wasn't like it was a terrible thing. But anyway, so Luke Short. Then I came upon another writer. Now, incidentally, these writers who I mentioned, all of them that I mentioned, their novels and short stories were made into television shows and movies. For example, Stagecoach was a movie where John Wayne that was his first movie where he started to become famous, Stagecoach. It was based on a short story by Ernest Haycox. That's the next one I want to mention. So far I've mentioned Louis L'Amour. I mentioned Luke Short. Now I want to mention Ernest Haycox. Okay. Great stories, great action, great scenery, historical accuracy, nothing sleazy, nothing off color. Okay. Good guys with honor and principle and virtue and strength and courage, fighting for what's right, see, and winning. So Ernest Haycox. I think he also wrote the book for which Union Pacific, that was another famous Hollywood movie. And he wrote the novel for that one. And so all of these, Louis L'Amour, Ernest Haycox, Luke Short, and I'm going to mention a couple of other authors. All of them, their novels were made into old Hollywood movies. It starred people like Joel McCrea and John Wayne, so on. Ernest Haycox, he wrote a lot of novels, very good. This one here is entitled Rim of the Desert. I haven't read it yet. I found it in a used bookstore, and I'm keeping it to read if I don't have anything from the library. Okay, so another writer I want to mention is, let me see if I can find his book here, Peter Dawson. Peter Dawson. Here's a book by Peter Dawson. Peter Dawson. Okay. Turns out, I've only started reading his about a month ago, and they're excellent. Great action. I mean, it's like watching a great Hollywood movie, you know, and you're on the edge of your seat. But the same criteria, nothing sleazy, nothing off color, ladies treated with respect, characters, both men and women, with courage and honor and very capable, and so on. Peter Dawson. Turns out he's the brother of Luke Short. Remember Luke Short? I said wrote a lot of good novels, Western novels. Their last name was Glyden. Peter Dawson, that's his pen name. He's the brother of Luke Short. Excellent. Okay, and I want to mention one more for you, which I only recently started reading, because after I read all the Louis L'Amour books, read all the Ernest Haycox books, all the Luke Short books, needed to find someone else. So now I found Peter Dawson and Norman Fox. Haven't read this one yet. It's called Tall Man Riding. Tall Man Riding. Okay, by Norman A. Fox. Okay, same thing. Strong, noble characters fighting bad guys. Nothing off color, nothing sleazy. Family friendly. Okay, good conquers evil. Wonderful. So, I've given you some. Now, here's the other thing. I was talking about books that men would read, like my stepdad. I know he would have loved these. If I only knew then what I know now. Okay, he would have loved reading these. Okay, but here's something else. For some reason, I don't know why, but a lot of these Westerns, Louis L'Amour, Norman Fox, Peter Dawson, Ernest Haycox, don't know if I mentioned all, but for some reason, many of them are available in large print versions. Large print, which is great for maybe older men, retired. Okay, large print. I don't know why, but they are. So I'm just thrilled about that. It makes them easier to read. I don't need to have large print. I can read the small print. But you know what? It's not bad. If it's available, I'll get it. But I'm mentioning it because it's makes it easier to read for like older men. So these could be some really good possibilities as presents. for teenage boys, older men. Okay. If you say, well, I want to start with something, but I don't want anybody smoking cigarettes, and I don't want anybody shooting. I just want action, you know. And the bad guy gets maybe punched, knocked down, but then that's all I want. I don't want anything more than that for starters. I want to put one toe in the water and make sure that they're, you know, and also not one bad word. And in fact, I don't even want anybody smoking. Then I recommend that you get the Louis L'Amour Hopalong Cassidy series. There's 4 of them. I can't remember the names. This is one of them. The Riders of High Rock. Okay. And there's 4 of them. So this could be a good start. If that's what if you want to start with one toe in the water. But believe me, compared to what you see on television, compared to what you see in the movies nowadays, compared to video games, these things are just heaven sent. Okay. And you learn something too, because these writers strove for historical accuracy. And they also wanted to show what it was like being out on the range or being in the desert, working on a ranch, okay, what a western town was like, or mining town. A lot of these have to do with cattle drives. Some of them have to do with mining or railroading. See, so they're just, here's Louis L'Amour on the back cover, okay. So, I hope I made this little video. It's not the greatest little video in the world, but I wanted to share something that I thought would be fun.